Hi, I'm Jenny Kiffmeyer, an ERISA attorney at the Retirement Learning Center. Welcome to our regular segment of Case of the Week. This week's case is a sham. Not really, but it is about sham terminations. As a reminder, these are real-life cases drawn from calls to our consultants on the resource desk from financial professionals all over the country. Our question today is a plan withdrawal legitimate if the employee severed employment, took a distribution, and then went back to work for the same employer? If not, what could happen? The answer is, it depends on the facts and circumstances. The IRS could view the rehiring of an employee who has taken a distribution of plan assets due to severance of employment as either a sham or bona fide, depending on the facts and circumstances. Qualified retirement plan assets typically are not distributable until the participant incurs a distribution triggering event, as outlined in the governing plan documents. Now, in the case of a sham severance or termination, the processing of an impermissible distribution without a legitimate distribution triggering event is an operational failure of that plan, which could potentially put the plan at risk of disqualification, resulting in adverse tax consequences to participants and the employer. Now, there's no definitive rule prohibiting the rehiring of an employee who has received a plan distribution as a result of leaving employment. For example, at least one court ruled that a participant had a true termination, even though he returned to employment with his former employer just 5 months after being rehired, because at the time of his retirement, he had no intention of returning to work and was only able to return to employment following unforeseen changes in his circumstances. And in another case, the IRS ruled that a senior executive who retired from full-time employment and continued to render services to the same company, but on a part-time basis as an independent contractor, was considered to have terminated employment. Now, if the IRS investigates and determines that the severance or termination is a ruse merely to facilitate a distribution, and both the plan sponsor and participant knew in advance that the individual would be rehired, the IRS would view such an action as a sham termination, most likely. The basic rule is this: to receive a distribution from a 401k plan on account of severance of employment, the participant must have experienced a bona fide termination of employment in which the employer and employee relationship is completely severed. The facts and circumstances that the IRS will consider include the following, but this isn't a comprehensive list. Number one, did the plan sponsor follow the terms of the plan document? Number two, did the termination of employment and processing of the distribution follow all the established administrative procedures? Number three, how long was the time interval between termination and rehire? Number four, what documentation exists to substantiate the termination and distribution? And number five, did the alleged sham termination involve a highly compensated employee? A plan sponsor and participants who collude to stage a firing, rehiring scenario to facilitate a plan distribution are potentially putting the qualified status of the plan at risk. Under investigation, the IRS could determine the termination is a sham and impose strict sanctions. In closing, as a financial advisor who works with plan sponsors and participants, you can play a pivotal role in helping them with cases such as this. If you are looking for a more in-depth written version of this case, you can find it on our website, retirementlc.com. Thank you.